Stoic principles allow us to shape our destiny, and the possibilities are endless. But not in any sense. If your goal is to get rich through illicit activities and shady dealings, you will not be able to benefit from these teachings. The Stoics have a particular vision of destiny, closely related to their metaphysics. The cosmos is governed by the logos, a universal law that guides all things toward their purpose. The logos is divine reason, and a part of it resides in the human beings, enabling them to distinguish between right and wrong. Stoicism combines predestination with free will, the determinism of nature with the freedom of the individual. We must accept circumstances as they come, since we have no control over them. But we do have, on the contrary, the possibility of acting correctly or incorrectly based on our reason. To act correctly means to act according to reason. Therefore, in accordance with destiny. That is, in the same sense that providence directs the universe with a purpose. So, if one acts well, one can expect certain cooperation from destiny. The one who acts virtuously can trust that things will go well. Things will go according to the established plan. On the other hand, for those who do not act in this way, things will be very different, and sooner or later they will suffer the consequences. Although circumstances are beyond our control, we can shape our destiny based on the use we make of the freedom we have. A good use will have positive consequences. A bad use negative ones. It is as simple as that. In his lessons to his disciples, Epictetus recommended caution in what depends on free will and trust in the rest. For some, this trust is nothing other than faith. A faith that consists of trusting that everything will be fine when one behaves in the right way. To act correctly means to act in accordance with reason and the Stoic virtues, in that which depends on us. There are 4 Stoic virtues, and they are closely related to each other. 1. Wisdom. For the Greeks, wisdom is linked to reason, to logos, and involves a deep understanding of reality. It is a concept in which knowledge is combined with morality. Wisdom also has a practical or applied meaning. Some even separate it from theoretical knowledge. A lot of erudition does not bring wisdom, said Heraclitus. The wise person is not the scholar, but the one who acts prudently and makes sensible decisions. This does not require great knowledge or extensive culture. It requires, in essence, understanding reality and becoming aware of what is appropriate in each moment and situation. Seneca illustrates this idea with a quite eloquent example. Wisdom does not teach to speak, but to remain silent. 2. Temperance. Temperance is self-control and moderation. It is not about eliminating or repressing impulses. Impulses are part of life and serve an important function. But we must have enough control to dominate them, and prevent them from dominating us. Stoic temperance is about finding a balance between reality and ourselves. Between the principles that one assumes, and the way in which one applies them on a daily basis. Temperance is associated with harmony and coherence. Temperance is also necessary for the development of the other virtues. Without temperance, one cannot achieve wisdom. It is also not possible to act justly, nor to behave bravely. For Marcus Aurelius, temperance is a constant force of the soul that sustains it in its balance. 3. Justice. For the Stoics, justice goes beyond the application of human laws or respect for social norms. Justice is a fundamental principle, linked to the idea of living in accordance with nature and universal reason. Living according to the logos is equivalent to acting with justice. Justice is related to wisdom. Acting justly requires having a clear vision of what is morally right. This means respecting natural law, living in harmony with other human beings, taking responsibility for our actions, and fulfilling our social and moral duties, even in difficult circumstances. Emperor Marcus Aurelius reflected widely on justice. In his words, we can see the sense of coherence that he attributes to this concept. Live with men as if God were watching you. Talk to God as if men were listening to you. 4. Courage. Courage is much more than bravery or the absence of fear. Courage, for the Stoics, is a virtue inseparable from the other three. Essential to put them into practice. Courage implies, first of all, temperance to control passions and emotions. In particular, fear and anguish. The Stoics stressed the importance of maintaining calm and serenity in the face of life's adversities and challenges. The greater the inner tranquility, the easier it is to face external challenges, Seneca said. Courage is also related to the dualism of control. We must face with determination what does not depend on us. It is necessary to maintain serenity in the face of what is beyond our control. Courage is also inseparable from justice. Acting correctly, even in difficult or dangerous circumstances, requires courage. Courage is manifested in acts of integrity, justice, and compassion toward others, regardless of personal consequences. Finally, courage implies firmness in the face of destructive passions such as anger, envy, or resentment. These emotions are an obstacle to virtue, and mastering them requires courage and self-discipline. Therefore, if you want to shape your destiny, you have to do several things. First of all, you must have a life project that is consistent with reason. Reason is what guides things towards their purpose. The human being's purpose is to contribute something to society and to contribute, in some way, to its improvement. This is what it means to act according to nature. Your personal project should be useful in this sense. Secondly, you need the discernment, prudence, and good sense to know what to do at any given moment. This means acting wisely in what depends on you. Wisdom is practical knowledge, acquired through experience, as long as you act in consonance with the rest of the Stoic virtues. Third, you need self-control. This implies, on the one hand, maintaining the discipline and firmness necessary to fulfill what you have proposed, and on the other hand, mastering the impulses and tendencies that separate you from it. Basically, laziness, negativity, and discouragement. Self-control requires practice and the determination necessary to stay on the right path. Fourthly, it is essential that you do not lose sight of the moral sense. This is something that frequently happens to those who are willing to do anything to achieve their goals. The idea that the end justifies the means is contrary to Stoicism. Fate collaborates with you when you act correctly. Lastly, you need courage. At some point along the way to the goal, courage will be necessary. But don't confuse courage with recklessness. Reckless people lack the rest of the Stoic virtues. They act foolishly and let themselves be carried away by their impulses in a senseless way. The courageous person, on the other hand, proceeds with wisdom, knows how to control himself or herself, does not lose sight of the sense of justice, and has confidence in what does not depend on him or her. In short, to shape your destiny, you need to understand reality, make out how all this works, know yourself, and begin a process of transformation based on Stoic virtues that aligns you with the purpose the cosmos has for you.